Okay, so you can hopefully see here that my disco is still going on. It's driving me insane. What would be really nice is if I could turn my disco on and off with some sort of button. Okay, so it just so happens that I found myself a button here. This is a digital input button. So I can connect this to my Arduino here. And I'm going to plug it into input number 13. Okay, so I've plugged that into number 13. Please you plug it into 13 as well. That's the physical part of it. I just need to set things up on my code a little bit. So first step, I need to name my pins. So I'm going to initialize that constant here. And I'm going to call it button. It's in pin 13. And I'll just put my comments here. Name pin 13 button. Okay, so there's my name, and I can use that name throughout my coding now. I'll just move that those comments out of the way. Now I'll need to go back up there in a little bit, but I'll come back down here. Now this next bit's pretty obvious. Pin mode, we need to name our pin modes here. Now this one's our button. It's an input this time. It's not an output. It's inputting information. Okay, initialize port 13 as an input. Okay, now those of you who are a bit mathsy will know about variables already. Now we need to attach a variable to our input. Okay, so because our input can either be on or off, and a variable can change on or off. So we're going to create a variable called button state. So either the button is on or the button is off. So I'm just going to create that variable now. Okay, so my variable is going to go here, create variables. Now you can see we've been using this word constant for a little while. The constant, a variable isn't a constant, it's the opposite. And we show that by just not writing the word constant at all. So we're going to initialize our variable, which I'm going to call button state. And I'm going to initialize it with the value of 0. Now that value will change as our program goes through, but I've just created my variable. Create variable to read the button's status. Okay, so that's the setup. We've plugged in our button. You can see we've got a fantastic button here. The disco is still happening, but we'll fix that up in a second. We then, in our program, created a constant called button, and then we went down to our pin mode and set the button as an input. And then the important part, the part that makes it all work, is creating a variable called button state that will tell us whether the button is on or off. In the next video, we're finally going to turn this disco